When we look at during the Maccabees and everything that happened, the Lord rose them up, and that's some history that I'm pretty sure the officer's going to touch. The Lord rose them up to be able to save our people from the affliction during that time. So guess what? The Lord is trying to rise us up right now in the spirit to be able to wake our people up and for them to be able to see what's going on, because we see it now. So he's trying to raise us up as leaders the same way he did with our forefathers, so they can see and repent and we can get the kingdom and be put out of this misery that we live in through.
Verse 36, then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited.
We killed all our enemies. Go ahead.
Let us go up to cleanse and to dedicate the sanctuary.
That's what we're doing today. This is what we celebrate. In a battle that seemed like it was insurmountable, meaning we couldn't fight it. We cannot win. That's how your life might feel sometimes. You can't win. There's no way that you're going to be able to come out of this on top. But the Lord is telling you, even when our odds don't look like it's in your favor, there's one that's fighting for you. That's what today is about. You them same people that the Lord got to remind you of every year, that I'm always going to have you win the battle regardless of how difficult it may be.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Y'all awake? Yes, sir. All praise to the Lord, man. We got to give the Lord a hand for this feast day, man. Hell yeah. Let's make sure we should already be in the spirit, so nobody should be saying, let me get in the spirit. Something's wrong if you ain't already in it. We should have been in it all week, especially starting yesterday with the start of the feast day. But now we got some, we got some scriptures. Obviously, JDL got some stuff he's going to go over to put this marvelous feast day to our remembrance and really be able to understand what our forefathers did for us to now be here in this place to be able to serve our God. But go ahead, officer.
Yes, sir. All right. So the class title is Prophecy from Plundered to Pillars. From Plundered to Pillars. All right. Let's go to Romans 15 and verse 4. You know how I am, so you're going to have to read, a little quick. Romans 15 and verse 4. We're going to start there.
Is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So the benefit of every single scripture we're going to read today was for our learning. That's why I got written down. The people in that time didn't need it. They were living it. So when we read the history of the Maccabees, they were living the history of the Maccabees, but we need it today. Come on.
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
The goal is for us to have some type of hope. Hope is translated to faith. Right? That's what you should think about when you hear the word hope. The goal of what was written down was so that in the future people would have faith. So when we think about this high holy day, the Feast of Dedication, this is a holy day where you're supposed to have faith. Some of y'all had faith in Christmas before. You had faith in Thanksgiving. You had faith in, some of y'all might have celebrated Kwanzaa. Right? All these different days, the purpose of them was to give you some type of hope or enjoyment. So what we're going through today is for your hope. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. So the prophets always understood that the people needed hope and they needed remembrance of what happened in the old times so that they could move forward. What they say in the world, if you don't know where you're headed, you don't know where you're going. Or if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. Right? 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1.
Is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance.
So Peter's saying the same thing that Paul just wrote, right? So they were the two top apostles. One had the job of dealing with the northern kingdom. The other job was to deal with the southern kingdom and run the church in Jerusalem. And they both had the same mentality, which was to make sure that the people were mindful of the scriptures and stir their minds up to give them remembrance. Come on.
That ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets.
So before means what? It was written down before, spoken before, for the benefit of the people in that current time. Go ahead.
And of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior.
Real quick, give me Isaiah chapter 34 and 16. This is why it was so important for them to remember what came to pass. This is why it was so important. It wasn't just because they wanted to tell people things, because a lot of us knows useless information, right? We remember things that don't mean anything. But Peter wanted them to have information that meant something. So a lot of time we come, we make it to the Feast of Dedication, but we really don't know why we're here. We just here. We like the Lord said we're supposed to be here. I was talking to brothers here the other day about why you keep the Sabbath. Brothers just like, yo, I know we're supposed to. That was the answer I got, pretty much. So same thing with Feast of Dedication. Why are you here? Why you got on a green garment on Sunday, showing up to the school in order to keep the feast? You should know. Read this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
So the key thing for you to get out of that scripture we just read is nothing in this Bible is going to fail. Everything you read is going to happen. And what we got to understand is it happens like a ring. Everything we're going to read about the Maccabees is going to happen again in these current times. So this feast day is a celebration of the fact we were plundered and the fact that we're going to rise again. That's what we're supposed to get out of these feast days. Not just, okay, well, this is the history and this is what happened. You're supposed to know we are those people that this happened to. This happened to us. So when we're reading this, don't read it like it just happened to some random people. It happened to your forefathers. It happened to your foremothers. And Peter and the apostles, they were always trying to put people in remembrance of that.
Hey, let me say this because remember, when it comes to what our forefathers did, right? Mattathias and his sons, they had to go to war for us to be in the position that we're in now. And we got to understand that even now, we're still at war with the same people that they was fighting with. Do you men understand that? Do you really think about it? We still warring with the Greeks, the Romans, Spaniards, Esau, Edom. They're the same people. We at war right now with them. So when we going over this right now about going to the back, to the past and really understanding what they did, watch this. Go to Jeremiah 6:16 right now. This is why we really got to understand what they've done, what they did, what spirit they moved in. So we know what spirit we got to move in ourselves. Read that.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 16. Come on. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths.
And we got to ask for the old paths. Wait a minute. What did they do to be able to have glory in the wars that they had to overcome against the same enemies that we have now? We ask by studying. And when you study and read, you got to ask for understanding in some of the things that you probably don't get right away. But we got to ask for the old paths. Read.
Where is the good way?
Which is the good way? Read.
And walk therein.
And do what?
And walk therein.
And so once we ask, what are the good ways that our forefathers walked in? How did they prepare themselves spiritually, mentally, physically to be able to overcome in those times? And then what we got to do is do the same thing and walk in them. That goes back to the action that we all got to be taking to be able to overcome in these days that we're going to see now. That's what the officer is saying, because those things that they went through, we going through them right now, and it's going to get much worse. So we got to prepare ourselves. So we got to walk in them. Read.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
For our spirits. You know why? That goes back to Romans 15 and 4. We're going to find comfort. Because although we're going to go through some heavy times, we know that we are going to overcome. We know that what we're going through is not compared to the glory that we're going to get to, that we're going to be able to get in the reward when Christ returns. Read on.
But they said, we will not walk therein.
But that's what happens to a lot of brothers. They said, well, we're not going to walk in them because you're not ready. You ain't prepared. You haven't prepared yourself. You're not ready for the fight and the battle that's in front of us. It's here now, but it's going to get much worse. So we all got to really look back and understand that this fight is big. And we got to prepare ourselves spiritually to be able to overcome it. Go ahead, officer.
Hey, 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 14. I like these mics. They turn on faster.
Keep it on. Keep it on.
Yeah, leave it on. 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 14.
Come on, let's go.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 4 and verse 14. I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved sons, I warn you.
You got to understand, the Lord always warned us. We were never caught off guard by the things that were going to happen. So even what we're about to talk about today, the people in the time of the Maccabees, they weren't caught off guard. I know we read it, and we read the book of Maccabees, and we're like, oh, man, it's amazing what happened, and they made it through. Just like y'all got forewarning of what's going to happen on the earth, the Maccabees had forewarning of what was going to happen on the earth. The same exact mentality that we supposed to have, they had. They were prepared for their moment. I'm going to show you that when we go through it. Go back to our 2 Peter chapter 3. I just want to read verse 3 and 4 real quick.
Come on.
Come on, Hez.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 2. That ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets.
Start at 3.
Verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts.
Hey, pull up the definition for scoffers on dictionary.com. I sent it to y'all. So what's a scoffer? Antiochus was a scoffer. You can write that in your notes. The Bible says in the last days you will have scoffers walking after their own lusts. I'm going to prove what I said. We're going to pull it up, and we're going to see why Antiochus was a scoffer. This day is about the death of a scoffer and the rulership of kings. Come on, y'all. Y'all got it? Dictionary.com. I just need scoffer. If y'all can't get it, that's it? Yes, sir. That's it. Come on, Hez. You can see it?
Yes, sir.
All right,
definition of scoffer. A person who mocks or makes fun of someone or something.
So they mock or make fun of something. Go ahead.
Often of religion.
Often a religion. Go ahead.
Or moral values.
That's what he did. When he came to Jerusalem, he said he was going to break us all down and sell us. That's the level of pride him and Nicanor came with. They said, we're going to break them all down. We're going to sell the Jews. We're going to make back our money. We're going to make back all the money we owe Rome. That was their mentality. Every single one of y'all in the room, when we read this, you got to understand the mentality of that man was, imagine if a white man came to the door and said, everybody inside, I'm going to kill them and I'm going to sell them and I'm going to pay off my debt. Y'all don't put yourselves in the shoes of these people, but y'all have to because y'all those people. They pull up to your hometown, to your doorstep and told you, I'm going to take every single one of you and sell you and I'm going to make my money back. That should infuriate every single one. If you don't, I don't know. Maybe you like white people. But when I think about this, it infuriates me because I understand the mentality that they had. And I understand why the Lord did what he did. Go back to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3 again. Come on.
Book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts.
Come on.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Go to Ezekiel 12 and verse 22. So that was the mentality, right, of the people. And that's the mentality of many of us today. And you can't be in that mentality in verse 4. You can't come to the Feast of Dedication saying, oh, it's just another Feast of Dedication. Because I have that question. Whose first Feast of Dedication is it? Show of hands. All right, good. So it's a couple of y'all. Who's second to fifth? Second to fifth. Who's been here 5+ Feast of Dedications? Okay. So to the people that's 5+, you may be saying, oh, it's just another Feast of Dedication. It's another feast, another time for us to celebrate. For the brothers that it's their first, they like, thank God I'm in the building. The 2 to 5 range is like, if they 2, they kind of like, they might be starting to lean towards, it's just another dedication. If you're in that spirit of it's just another dedication, you are the people that think another day, another dollar. That things just go as they go. So we got to stop there. Here's what Ezekiel said, Ezekiel 12 and 22.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 12 and verse 22. Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth?
Because this is how people started thinking. They said, man, I'm reading all that stuff Ezekiel talking about in Jeremiah, but the vision ain't coming to pass. It's just words. They talking about death and destruction and famine, and ain't nothing happening. We go into the Sabbath, we keeping Feast of Dedication. Why they bringing up famine and destruction? Go ahead.
Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will make this proverb to cease.
The Lord said, I'm going to make this proverb stop. Y'all going to start talking like nothing's going to happen. Go ahead.
And they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision.
That's what we living in right now, y'all. Every vision is coming to pass. Everything you seeing on the news is letting you know everything in the Bible about to happen. And when the Maccabees lived, the vision that they had from back then, it came to pass. They might have had the same mentality. Yo, we heard about this Grecian king. He was going to come and kill everybody. It never happened. And then they pulled up at the door and they said, give me every black body in the building. And then it was no longer prophecy, it was reality. So y'all can't live like it's just a joke. The Lord said, I'm going to make it a real thing. Read.
For there shall be no more any vain vision nor flattering divination within the house of Israel.
Come on.
For I am the Lord. I will speak,
He said, I will speak. Go ahead.
and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass.
It's going to happen. Read.
It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days.
For when? For when?
For in your days.
For in your days. Y'all understand? That's talking to you. That he wrote that down for us so that we would have hope. So in your days, while you living, it's going to come to pass. That's what he's telling you. This is the warning, the same warning that they got when they were living during the time of Maccabees. But some of y'all don't take that serious. It's just another feast of dedication. It can't be that.
Hey, let me say this too, because we read that in Deuteronomy chapter 28 when we look at the curses that our people had to go through and are still going through. Everything is evident that the Lord said was going to happen is happening now. When you look at the immigration system right now and what they're doing with ICE, DHS, and all of them deporting Northern Kingdom, not just Northern, you got Levi. You got Levi being deported. They're pushing it so much right now that they want to take away citizenship from kids or people, adults that was born here from parents that came from other countries from generations past. So that's a persecution that our people is going through. But many brothers and sisters ain't seeing that. You're not connecting the dots and understanding that's part of the affliction that the Lord said we would go through. And once again, this is just the beginning. Read that right quick, Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is just the beginning of things that are going to happen. Read that 28, verse 28 and 29.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Read.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
The Lord said we're not going to prosper. Because when you look at Northern Kingdoms in particular, a lot of them come here and they try to start businesses. But right now, they're not giving a damn about that. America makes money out of us being here with the taxes and everything that we pay, but they don't care about money. Remember, they're the richest nation that exists. Although they try to say that they poor, that they're in a deficit, or that they got this great debt, trillions of dollars. No, that's why they don't give a damn about getting rid of us, even though we put money into their system. But read on.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
The Lord said we was going to only be oppressed. We can't take away from that. The Lord is going to add to it because our people continue being rebellious. It's on us to wake up and be able to wake up the rest of our people that haven't yet learned that. The Lord said we was going to be oppressed. Read.
And no man shall save thee.
And no man shall save thee. But I'm going to say this. When it comes to us being able to do something for our people, when we look at during the Maccabees and everything that happened, the Lord rose them up, and that's some history that I'm pretty sure the officer is going to touch. The Lord rose them up to be able to save our people from the affliction during that time. So guess what? The Lord is trying to rise us up right now in the spirit to be able to wake our people up and for them to be able to see what's going on, because we see it now. So he's trying to raise us up as leaders the same way he did with our forefathers, so they can see and repent and we can get the kingdom and be put out of this misery that we're living through. Go ahead.
Just told me leave the mic on. All right, I'm going to listen next time. Amos chapter 3 and verse 6. Amos 3 and 6. Because what Officer Elon just said is heavy. That's exactly it. That's why when we keep these days, we can't think about it like, oh, that was just the Maccabees. Some of you wives don't realize you sleeping in bed with a Maccabee. I'm going to show you that. You got to have that same mentality. You in bed with one of those warriors. Some of you rode in the car with them today. You raising them up as sons. Some of you wives are the women in second Maccabees.
Oh, man.
Man, I love that history, man. We got to get that. Come on. We got to read faster so we get there. Second, Amos 3 and verse 6. And then we're going to 2 Ezra 16 after that. Come on.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people be not afraid?
Because the trumpet was a warning. So just like the warnings come for a tornado, the Lord is going to warn us of the death and destruction that's going to come to us.
That's right.
Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it?
Read.
Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
The Lord is going to reveal the secrets of what's going to happen into the world to the prophets. Y'all are the lucky ones that get to know what's going to happen on this earth. So, 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 67. Just like the Maccabees had prophecy, and we're going to get into it in a second, y'all get prophecy of what's going to happen. Y'all just like the Maccabees. for you young men, and you women that understand that there were wives around and there were children around in that time. You get to be those lucky men and women and those children that understand what's going on. Y'all the lucky ones, because everybody else is going to be a surprise, but to us, we know what's happening. So are we going to move like them, or are we going to be shaken when it happens? 2 Maccabees 16 and 67.
Second Esdras?
2 Esdras 16 and 67. Yes, sir. That's what I meant.
2 Esdras chapter 16 and verse 67.
Come on.
Behold, God himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall God lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble.
Because he's telling you trouble is coming. So he's prophesying what's going to happen next. Come on.
For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you.
What y'all don't realize is the whole world is going to turn against us, just like at that time. When the Greeks were running the world, they were the whole world. They were over everything. If you wanted to eat, you had to go through the Greeks. You had to use their money. If you wanted to go to school, you went to Greek schools. They were over everything, just like you in America today. You work American jobs. We speak American languages. So it's going to look like a feat to be able to go to war with the people that run the entire world. But y'all don't realize your people have been at war with the people that run the earth over and over again, and we always win. We always win. Come on.
And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols.
Come on.
And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach, and trodden underfoot.
Because we're going to have some of our people that choose to go with the enemy in this time. But we're going to read about that happening in that time. Same thing, it repeats itself. Come on.
For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
They're going to come into the cities and they're going to conquer the people that serve the Lord. Well, guess what? That happened to the Maccabees. It's going to happen to you. That's why we read in Ezekiel, you're not going to be able to say this prophecy didn't come to pass. It's going to happen. You're going to be just like the Maccabees. Come on.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord.
Next verse.
For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then,
That's it. So they're going to take things away from us. And the reason that's going to happen is because the Lord wants to try us in these times. So just like the Maccabees got tried, we could look at them and say they were great men. But remember what we read earlier. The Lord always warned us of this. So we're going to show you that. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 3. Daniel 7 and verse 3. So in the book of Daniel, the Greeks are mentioned multiple times. So the Maccabees, they're in the Greek captivity. Guess what they would have had? They lived through the Persian captivity, so they would have had the books that Daniel wrote.
That's right.
They were not surprised by what happened. They reacted based upon the fact that they understood prophecy. These men were prepared. They weren't men that just picked up and said, "Oh snap, they coming against us. What do we do?" I'm going to prove that to you. Daniel 7 and verse 1. Verse 3. Start there.
Daniel chapter 7 and verse 3. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another.
Beast refers to men or nations. That's what it's making reference to. Ecclesiastes 3 and 18 is the precept for y'all to understand that. Jump down to verse 6 though.
Verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard.
He saw a beast that was like a leopard. Go ahead.
Which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
4 wings of a fowl, making reference to the area or the territory that they would conquer. Come on.
The beast had also 4 heads.
We're going to get into that. Come on.
And dominion was given to it.
Power over the entire earth was given to this beast. Now go to 1 Maccabees 1 and 1. Watch what they wrote. Just this one verse, because we always read this and it's quick. Daniel prophesied it. Now watch what the Maccabees wrote. When they put these books together, they abridged it, and they took on a great labor to make sure we had something to read. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1, come on.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened.
Why would they say it happened past tense? Because guess what? They read. They said, oh, it happened. The thing that we had read about, it came to pass. That's why it says, and it happened. That means you were waiting for it to happen, and you wrote it down. You made record of the prophecy coming to pass. So when it happens to you, do not act surprised. Because we read that it's going to happen to us. Go back to Daniel now and read Daniel chapter 8 and verse 3. Multiple times in the book of Daniel did he prophesy about the Greeks. They were not surprised. So don't read the history of your forefathers like they were some idiots. running around, and then a man brought a pig and said, you want to eat this pig? And they said, what do? We got to fight back. No, they said, we know the man with the pig is coming to conquer our temple, and we're going to fight back. We're not going to fold because we understand this was prophesied. I'm going to show it to you. Daniel 8 and verse 3.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 3.
Come on.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
So there were 2 horns on this ram, right? Normally you would get a precept, you would leave the entire chapter, but jump to verse 20. In this chapter explains what's going on in this vision, so we're going to jump around for time. Verse 20, come on.
Verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
So the ram is the Persian and Mede Empire. They were ruling at first before the Greeks come up. Go back to verse 3. Verse 4 now.
Verse 4. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him.
So the Persian and Mede Empire, remember, this was men. They were conquering everyone around them. Go ahead.
Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great.
So he prospered everywhere, including conquering Alexander's people. He conquered Alexander's people. So Alexander had a hatred for him because of this. Come on.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
So a he-goat came from the west. Jump down to verse 21. Let's see who the he-goat is.
Verse 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
The king of Grecia there is referring to Alexander the Greek, or the sodomite, or the dead man, however you want to say it. For history's sake, we'll say Alexander the Greek. Go on.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
And the great horn before his eyes is the first king, making reference to Alexander. Now jump back to verse 5. So let's see how Alexander moved when it came to dealing with this ram. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power.
So he ran unto him in fury, meaning he was ready to conquer him. Go ahead.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him.
He was moved with hatred. That's what that word choler means. Great hatred. Normally when you got great hatred for people, you have a history. Something happened. So you understand, Philip, his forefather was conquered by the same people who were running the world, the Persians and Medes. They had conquered Alexander's forefathers. And when they started to build up the Greek Empire, he said, I got a hatred for these people because they've been oppressing me my whole life. Just like you should have hatred for the people that oppress you. But we're going to move in the way that the Lord told us to move. You understand? We should have the same burning fire in us to move out of the position that we're in or being on the bottom. Come on.
And smote the ram and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great.
So Alexander conquered all the dark nations on the earth, right? He waxed very great. He did all of this in 12 years. Go on.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Out of Alexander comes 4 notable ones, right? Jump down to verse 22. It gives you exactly what it's saying.
Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
They're giving him so much specific. You gotta understand, when you get to the time of the Maccabees, our forefathers read, they're not like us. They didn't have TikTok and Instagram and 40-second clips. They would have been reading this over and over again to understand when this guy falls, there's gonna be 4 other kingdoms. Who are those 4 other kingdoms? That's their conversation. So when it happens, they're like, okay, this guy came up, he conquered them. After he conquered them, they hit Grecia. They call themselves the Greeks. That's what Daniel wrote down. Okay, we got to be looking for 4 other kingdoms to come. What else is going to happen? So they weren't surprised by any of it. Jump back to verse 12 now.
Verse 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice.
Give me verse 11, sorry.
Verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
The place of his sanctuary is going into our sanctuary. This is prophesying that the temple in Jerusalem will be destroyed. Because every day we had to do a sacrifice. So when the Lord is prophesying through Daniel, he's letting the people know the temple is going to be destroyed. You're not going to be able to do your daily sacrifices anymore. This is being prophesied right here. It wasn't a surprise. So it wasn't like they get to the time of the Maccabees and they're like, what's happening? The Lord gave it to them in very specific detail. Keep reading.
And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression.
So
And
the host that was given to him, give me 1 Maccabees 1 and verse 43. Just make sure you got 1 Maccabees 1 and this open. We coming back and forth. So the Lord is showing them what's going to happen. So when we reading it, we can't be like, oh, they were surprised. No, the Lord gave them everything, and they had to prepare themselves, just like we had to prepare ourselves. And certain men were more prepared than others. That's what you got to see. Come on.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
So we had some of our own brothers and sisters who decided, I'm going with the heathen. I'm going with the people that make it so we don't keep the commandments of God, so that we don't serve anything the Bible says. Well, guess what? The same thing is happening today. You got mothers and sisters and cousins and brothers that choose not to keep the Sabbath day. You told them, Mom, I'm going to the Sabbath. Some good people. You should come. They said, no, Negro, I raised you from diapers. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me how to serve God. And as a matter of fact, I'm buying a Christmas tree. And don't try to stop me. You got the same family members, just like in that time, they had the same family members who rather serve the Greeks than serve God.
Hey, you got to remember, for our people to give in to something like this, something has to be taken from us, right? So jump up to verse, 22?
In 1 Maccabees?
Yep.
1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 22.
Because when you start up in 1 Maccabees on down, you read about Alexander, goes into the 4 kings also, right, that he put into place. So once all that was established, they had to take things away from us. So now our people, we don't have nothing. Remember, when we don't have anything, just like today, our people, they don't have identity, right? And because we don't have identity, we don't have our customs, our culture, we go right into whatever we can. So then we start following the heathen in every custom. So read that right quick.
1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 22. And the table of the showbread and the pouring vessels.
No, start at verse 21. No, 20.
Verse 20. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof.
Read on.
And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
And all this was customary in the temple. Read on.
He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre.
Having made what?
A great massacre. And spoken very proudly.
And this is how you know history repeats itself. When you read this right here, what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, when I've read history books about what happened to our people during the conquest in 1492, when they was doing it to the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas, I'm reading the same thing. They came in, stole the gold, stole everything that we hold dear, although many of that was idolatry. But what was customary for us, then they did what? They did a great massacre. Now, what happened once they did that to our people? They started giving us Catholicism, Christianity. Same thing today. Our people don't have no history. This is why when we look at them trying to, I forget the term that they have, but when they're trying to take away history books, they're trying to take down old monuments of what happened during the conquest. It's us forgetting our history, us not being able to understand what happened then. So when we lose that history, what happens? It goes into us now. Well, we don't have nothing. Let me go into whatever it is that you have so we can hold on to something. So this is how our people are now able to go to whatever it is that we can go to that doesn't pertain to God. Go ahead. That's it.
That's heavy, officer, because that's exactly where we find ourselves today. You got some people regaining their identity, and you got a lot of people who still think they black. So when they get offered something else, that's that going back to 2nd Ezra when we read, those that be idle will get fed with idols. right? It's the same mentality that's going on here. And then when you read in this, you read that they were massacred. That's the same thing as an insurrection. Again, it's repeating itself over and over again. It's cyclical, right? It's a circuit. Go back to Daniel 8. We're coming back here. Daniel 8 and 12 one more time.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
When it says cast down the truth to the ground, go to 1 Maccabees 1 and verse 56. Read that. Cast the truth down to the ground. Because when we read about the insurrection in 2nd Ezra, remember, it says it's upon those that fear the Lord. So the same thing was done here. How did they do that? 1 Ezra 1 and verse 56. 1 Maccabees 1 and verse 56. Come on.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 56.
Hey, I talk faster than I think sometimes. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Stay with me.
And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire.
They burnt them with fire. What'd they do? Read it again.
And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found,
they ripped up the book of the law that they found, the Bibles that we all hold today. Go ahead.
they burnt them with fire.
They took all the Bibles and they started to burn them with fire. That's the truth being cast to the ground. There's a movie about that, if y'all can find it, B&T. It's called Fahrenheit with Michael B. Jordan. And Michael B. Jordan was going around and he was burning books. The same thing happened here in the time of Maccabees. It happened also in the time of 2nd Ezra. They burned the Bible. The same thing is going to happen in your time. Same thing going to happen. They're going to come and they're going to say, you got a Bible, and if you do, we're going to burn it. And we're going to burn you if you don't give up that Bible. That's why what Officer Elon brought out was heavy, because they were forced into that subjugation. And then some people said, either I'm going to die or I'm going to choose to live with the devil. That was a choice that they made. Jump down in Daniel. Go back to Daniel.
Hey, let me make this point as well to what you just read. This is why would they burn our books? Why would they take that away from us? They understand that's a military tactic. They was destroying everything that we hold dear. Now today, we got to look at it and be like, damn, this Bible is very important. You saw it in the book of Eli. When they said, what he said? He said that this book, it's not just a book that Edomite. Because everybody was asking him, look, you got many books. Why do you want this one book? He said, well, it ain't just a book. It holds power. Just like with us, when we hold this Bible dear and we apply everything that's in here, it has so much spiritual power that we can't see. And this is why they were destroying all our books when they was able to destroy everything else that they had.
Right, because they understand it's a weapon. If you know the future, then you can plan for the future. That's the difference between us and our enemy. They can't plan for the future like we can. We are the ones that the Lord gave understanding to know what they're going to do. They can't break from what they're going to do. You can. You got a choice. You get to choose life or death. Do Esau get to choose life or death, or do they just get death? Something for you to think about. Go back to that.
I'm sorry, officer. I want to make this other point. What you said right now about preparing for the future. How are we, let me ask one of you brothers, how are we preparing for that future and that fight, that battle that's before us? Who can tell us? How are we preparing for that battle, for that future? You ain't going to live forever. If Christ don't return in our lifetime, how is it that we prepare for that future? I'm giving it to you. Go ahead, Nehemiah. Give him the mic.
Brother Nehemiah. Shalom leadership. We're getting prepped with reading the scriptures, studying, putting our actions into work by doing what we're reading.
Okay, speak a little bit stronger, but no, think about it. Christ don't return in our lifetime. You die either of old age or something else. How are you preparing for that future fight for the nation?
By getting built up still for when that time comes.
But you're dead. What happened next? Somebody else. Give it to the brother right there.
Shalom, yes, sir. Most High Christ bless you. How we do is, we teach our children.
There you go. Yes. Let's go to it right quick. Sirach, what is it? 30 verse, the point is verse 3. Come on.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. When we're dealing with our kids, not only are we dealing with them through the correction, which we have to do whenever they misbehaving, but we're teaching them about our forefathers. We're teaching them the history that they did and what they got to be ready and willing to do. Read on.
And before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
Read it again.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
You grieve the enemy. When we teaching our sons about them and what they got to be ready to do, how to keep the laws, how to keep the commandments, the Lord says you grieve the enemy. When the enemy sees that our young daughters and our sons are getting married righteously, when they coming together and keeping God's feast day, guess what? That grieves them because they know they're losing and they know they're losing now. So we got to be able to understand. That's how we prepare for that future battle and the battle that's before us right now. Because they get ready generations ahead. They know it, but we don't know that. We don't get ready generations ahead. But it starts with us now, brothers. Come on.
That's heavy. They definitely get ready. They got hotels booked out for years for conferences. Go to Daniel. Actually, you got the clip, right? Pull it up real quick. This is the movie I was referring to. They found it. So we're just going to watch it so y'all understand. Art imitates life, right? Art imitates our life, the Bible. All right, you can cut it. Y'all get the point. So y'all have to understand, this clip is in here to show you this is what was done in history. This is literally what was done. People went around, when they would conquer places, they would conquer your information. They would take it, like America has a library where you can only get in, right? And every book, there has to be 2 copies put into the library, right? I forget, the Library of Congress. You have to put 2 copies of whatever book you write in the Library of Congress, and they give you an ISBN number. So every book has an ISBN number. That's the Library of Congress saying, we got a copy of what you got. And then when they get ready, they can burn everything and keep everything in the Library of Congress. Ain't that amazing? Ain't no difference between what they got now and what they had in the time of Greeks. Ain't no difference from what was going on in the time of Babylon. Every government does this. They control information. So they did it to us because they wanted to make sure they could control what we put in our brain. That's why they gave you Christmas and didn't give you the Feast of Dedication when you were growing up. Go back to Daniel chapter 8 and give me verse 13. Going back to the point of Officer Elon, right? Teaching your kids. Because if you don't teach your kids, the white man will. And he'll destroy them. Read that, Daniel 8 and verse 13.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 13.
Let's go.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Right, meaning the nation of Israel and the sanctuary will be destroyed by the heathen, trodden under. For how long will it be? Come on.
And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
So it was prophesied that there would be destruction and that there would be deliverance. Those 2 things were prophesied all in the same chapter. So now you get to the time of the Maccabees. You telling me they didn't know? They were confused by what was happening. They were told destruction was going to happen, and they were told that it would be cleansed. 2,300 days equates to 6 years and 4 months. So you understand. So it's telling you that from 165 AD to 171 AD, there will be the destruction of the temple, and then we will resurrect and get back the temple and dedicate it in 171. They even had the dates. It's all there. They didn't have to be surprised. Oh, what's going to happen? The Lord gave it to them. The thing was, only certain men could understand it. The men that looked at this Bible, and the Lord put a spirit on them to reveal what was going to happen in the last days. It's the same thing happening today. When you go to Daniel chapter 10, give me verse 20 and 21.
Daniel chapter 10 and verse 20. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia.
That's right. That's what it says here. Don't be confused. The Lord was fighting on the side of the prince of Persia because he sets up the kings. He was fighting with the prince of Persia. Come on.
And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come.
That's literally the Lord telling Daniel, the prince of Grecia is coming next. That's who about to rule after the Persian and Mede captivity. So guess what they would have been reading during their time? They would have been reading Daniel. They would have said, hold on. Daniel prophesied through the Lord dealing with him that the next people to come up was going to be Greece. So we got to be watching Greece. We got to know they coming. Jump over to Daniel chapter 11 and verse 1.
You want in verse 21?
Yeah, read 21. That's fine.
Verse 21. But I
No, I don't want 21. Drop it. Go to Daniel 11 and 1 for time. Daniel 11 and 1.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 1. Also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia.
Everyone is going to get together and they're going to fight against Grecia. Watch what it says. Go ahead.
And a mighty king shall stand up, that shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will.
Come on.
And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Right. This kingdom was going to be broken and then divided to the 4 winds of heaven. Who that sound like that stood up out of Grecia, and then his kingdom got divided? It's Alexander and his 4 generals yet again. We reading the same prophecy, multiple chapters. Come on.
And not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others beside those.
All right, now jump down to verse 30. We're going to get to the time that we're talking about. Come on.
Verse 30. For the ships of Chittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
The intelligence, this is talking about Antiochus, Epiphanes. The intelligence he had was our own people that were wicked, that chose to be on his side. They were telling him what we were doing. That's how he was able to come and invade us. So just like in this time, we're going to have brothers and sisters that are traitors. That's going to happen because it repeats itself over and over again. Go on.
And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength.
They shall pollute the sanctuary. Go ahead.
And shall take away the daily sacrifice.
The same thing we read in Daniel 8 being repeated again. Come on.
And they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
They're going to place another god in our temple. Read.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries.
He's going to spoil them and give them goods and certain treasures and positions in society. He's going to corrupt them. Come on.
But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
Pull up exploits for me, because that's not a black word. People thinking black exploitation flick if you're from the 70s. That's all black people know when it comes to exploits. If I made people stand up and say, what is exploits? You don't know. Maybe some of y'all do. I won't put it past some of y'all. Some of y'all read the dictionary. Come on. I sent y'all a dictionary.com exploit. It's all right, man. Y'all gonna be all right in there.
Definition of exploit: a striking or notable deed, feat, spirited or heroic act.
So today we celebrating heroic acts because these men that rose up, they feared God and they did a heroic act. That's what the Lord prophesied through Daniel would happen, and then it happened. Guess what's going to happen in the same days? Some of y'all in here are going to do exploits because history repeats itself. But are you building yourself up to be that heroic person when the people need you most? Because I'm telling you, ain't no Negro in the world going to do it. Wasn't no Negro that wasn't reading his Bible ready to do it. But they needed that leader that rose up, which was Mattathias in his time. And he took those people with him that were ready to do heroic acts, which are exploits. Go back to Daniel 8 and verse 33.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 33. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword.
So he told you their fate. He said they're going to instruct many, but people are going to die also. Same thing is going to happen in this time. Read.
And by flame, by captivity, and by spoil, many days.
Read.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help.
The little help is referring to Judas Maccabees, first Mattathias, his father, and then Judas Maccabees and his brothers that come out of him. They were the little help that the Lord said he would bring, he was going to give. Give me that in 2 Maccabees 8 and 23. They were the little help. So even the Maccabees were prophesied of. So guess what? You men in this room, you sisters in this room, you're prophesied about. You in the Bible. I know you read it like it's just random. When you read Ezekiel 37 and they stood up on their feet, that's talking about you. When you read Revelation 11:11, it's talking about you. You in the Bible. This ain't no regular book. This what we reading is about you, but you just don't understand that yet. 2 Maccabees 8 and 23, come on.
2 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 23. Also he appointed Eleazar to read the holy book. And when he had given them this watchword, the help of God.
The what?
The help of God.
Come on.
Himself leading the first band, he joined battle with Nicanor.
So Judas Maccabees was called the help of God because he was the little help that the Lord would send. Guess what the Lord got on earth right now? A little help. There's a little help on the earth right now. You got to view yourself as that. And guess what Judas Maccabees viewed himself as? He viewed himself as that help. He read them prophecies, and the spirit of him activated to take over and lead those people. He ain't know maybe from the time he was a youth, but he understood what was coming, and he prepared himself, and when it came, he stepped up to the plate. That man or that woman that's going to step up and help our people, they in here already. They in here already. That's how the Lord always operated. Go back to where we at, Daniel chapter 11, verse 34. The question is, though, is it you? That's what you got to ask yourself on the Feast of the Dedication. Are you dedicated like the Maccabees? And are you that person that's going to rise up? Jump back to Daniel 11, read verse 34.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 34.
Let's go.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries.
Come on.
And some of them of understanding shall fall.
So some of the Maccabees were going to die. Go ahead.
To try them and to purge.
To try and to purge the other people. A lot of y'all look to the leadership table or leadership, the bishops, the deacons, the captains, and say they're going to guide me through everything. The Lord's telling you they're going to die to try y'all. That's what's going to happen. You don't understand it. Bishop understands that. The deacons understand. I'm not saying nothing they don't understand. I've heard it come out of their mouth. They understand they're going to die. But do you understand that you're being tried in their death? Do y'all understand that? That's where your mind got to go. Ain't nobody just going to read the Bible and be there for you every single time. So when Judas Maccabees died, other men had to step up. When his brother Jonathan died, other men had to step up. When Simon died, men had to step up. And that's how it's going to go in this time. Men are going to die to try the ones that are left. It's the same thing. It's going to repeat itself. Come on.
And to make them white, even to the time of the end.
You see what it says? To make them white. Even to the time of when?
And even to the time of the end.
We in the end right now. Read it again, please. To the what?
Even to the time of the end.
Read.
Because it is yet for a time appointed.
It's for a time appointed. I'm talking about right now. That same thing applies to right now. It's for then and it's for now. Even to the time of the end to make them white. So he's telling you, Judas had to go because once Judas left, then I can see what you made of. I can see if you got that same spirit and you believe what's written right here. So Daniel 11, Daniel 10, Daniel 9, and Daniel 8 all saying the same thing. Go to 1 Maccabees now. We're just going to skip through it. So now when you read this history, you should understand they weren't surprised by this. It wasn't like it just happened. Them writing it happened was to identify the thing we wrote about. It's coming to pass. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1.
First Maccabees.
We're going to skip around here. Come on.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim.
We read about the land of Chittim in Daniel chapter 11. Come on.
Has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
He killed the Persians and Medes. Go ahead.
That he reigned in his stead. The first over Greece.
He was the first over Greece. Then you have Philip II and Darius III. Come on.
And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
So he slew all the dark races of the earth. That's who he was killing. Everybody who was dark, because they didn't originally run Greece. It was dark-skinned people in Greece. They killed them and they took over their land and their name. Go ahead.
And went through to the ends of the earth.
They went all over the earth. Read.
And took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
Now he's walking around with his chest poked out, bragging about being the eagle, just like America today, saying, who could stop my army? The same exact thing we dealing with today. History repeats itself. Come on.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries, and nations, and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants.
So he died because of a sexual disease when you look it up. Right? That's how he died. So when he perceived that he was going to die, this was all done. He conquered the entire earth in 12 years, yo. A young boy conquered the whole earth in 12 years. He couldn't have done that if God wasn't fighting with him. We read that in Daniel chapter 11. God said, after I'm done fighting with the Persians and Medes, I'm going to go over here with the Greeks and we're going to conquer everything through them. It was always the Lord doing it. Y'all understand? So America is set up because the Lord is on their side to a degree right now. And then he's going to stop dealing with them and put them to death. That's how God operates. He raised them up to take them down. It's like a game to God. He love it. But you can't be afraid. You got to understand whose side you on. Come on.
Verse 6, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died.
He ruled the whole earth in 12 years. Come on.
And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
They all made themselves kings. Did I send y'all a map? There was 4 servants. I kind of want to ask the question, but I don't want to ask the question, but I'm going to ask it. Don't put it up.
15, 20, maybe 20.
All right. Pull up the map. Come on, Hez. So you see the 4 generals, right? Leave that map up, and then Hez read verse 9.
First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right, so evils were multiplied in the earth, right? So what you're seeing is these 4 generals, you got Cassander, you got Lysimachus, Seleucus, and you got Ptolemy, right? Ptolemy ruled Egypt, as you can see. Lysimachus was over Thrace and Asia. Cassander was over Macedonia and Greece. And then you had Seleucus, who was over Babylon, Syria, and India, right? So who we're dealing with, who came against us, is Seleucus. If you see him, Seleucus is over on the right, on the far right, and you see Ptolemy. In between that, you'll see the area that today they would call the Middle East, right? That middle area is where we dwelled. So when you understand what's happening in history, just to make it short, Ptolemy and Seleucus, they fighting each other, trying to take reign of our area, because they understand in order to conquer the earth, they need that area. That's why everywhere fights over the Middle East, or what you call Israel. That's why America's fighting over it today, because through that one little piece of landmass, you have the path that connects you to the other side of the world. So they understand you could conquer Africa from there. You could conquer you could conquer Asia from there, Europe, because you have this outpost that's in the middle of everything. So now you control the whole area. It's the best place for warfare. That's why we're going to rule the earth from there. So y'all understand, right? This is military strategy, probably boring to y'all. But they understand that.
Hey, but it's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be. But
for you, man, we got to be thinking like that. That's why we got to be spiritual, to be able to comprehend what the Lord is telling us. He laid out the whole game plan for us. Even though remember, you read that in Judges. Is it Judges where he said that he left the other nations for us to know war? He tried us. Read that right quick. Because we have to learn strategy in war. Like, for example, in a miniature scale, we got to learn how to apply that when we go into different camp locations, when we go into different missions for flyer missions. We may not think it's applicable, but it is. Read that right quick.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan.
You see why he left the other nations? So we may learn war. Even now we have to learn to pick up on the things that the Lord is showing us. This is why we can't be sitting back and be comfortable in what we're doing now, brothers, because we are in the midst of war. That was it. Go ahead.
Nah, that's heavy, officer. Because brothers won't study this stuff, but it's going to apply. Jump back to verse 10. Watch this. I'm going to just give you a little bit of history, and we're going to wrap up soon. First Maccabees 1 and 10.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
So his name was Antiochus Epiphanes. Epiphanes means God is manifest. So literally, Antiochus believed he was God manifest on earth. So he was at war with God. Same way Esau is at war with God. They set themselves up as God in these last days. So he believed he was God. He could do whatever he wanted. Nobody could stop him. That's why he stopped us from serving our God, because we had to serve him and whatever he believed. Go ahead.
Son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome.
It says he had been a hostage at Rome. Real quick, Hez, I need you to read it fast. First Maccabees 8 and 1. This is the history. It said he had been a hostage at Rome. So what you got to understand is this backstory to him. First Maccabees 8 and 1.
First Maccabees chapter 8 verse 1. Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them.
All right, jump down to verse 5. This is what happened.
Verse 5.
They would conquer people by policy and patience. You read that in verse 4, but we jump into 5 for time. Come on.
Beside this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Chittims, with others that lifted up themselves against them and had overcome them.
Read.
How also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and a very great army was discomfited by them.
That's Antiochus the Great. That's the father of Antiochus Epiphanes or Antiochus Epiphanes. Go ahead.
And how they took him alive.
They took Antiochus Epiphanes alive in Rome. He was a hostage in Rome. So Rome raised him. So y'all understand, he was raised in Rome. Go ahead.
And covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay a great tribute and give hostages, and that which was agreed upon.
So while Greece was ruling, you got to understand, they was under Roman domination. Antiochus Epiphanes is ruling, but he got to go and pay back Rome, because guess who raised him? Rome raised him. They taught him and put everything in their brain. So just like you, when he going to conquer people, he's teaching them Roman gods, Roman ideology. Guess what y'all learned in school? Roman ideology. You was conquered by the Romans too. You under Rome right now. Just like the Greeks did to the Maccabees, because it wasn't really a Greek mind, it was a Roman mind. So you understand. Go ahead.
And the country of India and Media and Lydia and of the goodliest countries, which they took of him and gave to King Eumenes.
All right, jump back to chapter 1 and read verse 10 again.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
So they went and they made a covenant with the heathen. Come on.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
So when you read 2 Maccabees 4, you'll see that history in more detail, right? Because the Maccabees, First Maccabees is just a abbreviated version of 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees goes into more detail. So that's how what the difference is. So if you read 2 Maccabees 4, it will explain what happened in those verses. Basically, Jason, I'm not going to say what tribe he was from, decided that he was going to set up a place for people to do naked exercise. That's where the gym comes from, gymnos. So he went and paid Seleucus or Antiochus, right, paid that dynasty and said, I want to set up a place where Israel could go and be naked. The men specifically could be naked and exercise. Blasphemy, right? And he did that, and he got set up, and he took that status in society, going back to what we read in Daniel, that certain people would be given away by flatteries, and they would be those people that ruled and conquered their own people, that hated their own people. It's the same thing you say today. You got the rich elite. Bishop did a class on that the other day on the black bourgeoisie. Those people sit high in society while we sit on the bottom of society, and they've sold their soul to Esau in order to prosper for a little bit of time. Now jump down to verse 41. I'm going to jump through it and get done.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Right, so everyone agreed according to the commandment of the king, because they agreed that the king was the right person to follow simply because he was killing people. It wasn't just because they agreed. Officer Elon brought that out earlier. They were getting put to death, and they were having their identity taken away from them. So they chose under force to follow the king. Go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
We profaned the Sabbath. We didn't keep it. Go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
The strange laws that they followed back then, you had things like the Bacchanal, right? The festival of Bacchus. Today, guess what you got? Christmas. Despite God telling you not to celebrate Christmas in Jeremiah 10, people following it. As a matter of fact, when I was driving here, I pointed out to my wife that car with the Christmas tree on it is going to flip over. I hope it do. And I hope the people inside repent. Because that's the mentality our people have, is to follow these things despite the fact that God said don't follow it. Because they've been broken down by their oppressors. Come on.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
All right, for time, jump down to verse 54.
Verse
51.
Verse 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people.
So we had taskmasters in that time who would come to our places and watch and make sure we did not keep the commandments of God. Just like you got at your job, they'd be like, what's those things on your shirt? Why do you wear dresses? What's that head wrap thing? Do you believe in the Bible? Hey, I saw you going to that church. Hey, is this you on the corner right here? You got the same thing set up in this time. Go ahead.
Commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice, city by city.
Read.
Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law. And so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
So they fled to certain places for comfort. Give me 2 Maccabees 6 and verse 1 real quick.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of God.
Come on.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus.
That's what they started calling the temple of Jupiter Olympus. Go ahead.
And that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place.
So imagine they took the school over and they said, this is going to be Bethany Baptist Church.
The hell is this?
And you had to walk past it every day. And they was in here singing and clapping, twerking for Jesus. And you just had to take it. I'm going to show you the twerking for Jesus. Keep reading. Watch.
The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles.
They were having sex inside the temple. That's what that's telling you. That's riot and reveling. They were in there fornicating, dancing, partying in the temple. Go ahead.
Who dallied with harlots.
They had whores in the temple. I don't know what you bring a whore into a temple for. Not to pray. Come on.
And had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
They did a bunch that was not lawful. So go back. Give me 1 Maccabees 2 and verse 1.
1 Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John.
So when Mattathias saw all that they were doing to the people, he rose up. Go ahead.
The son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib.
So this is the Hasmonean dynasty. Hasmonean means sons of Simon. Go ahead.
From Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Joanan, called Caddis, Simon, called Thassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis.
All right, jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. He said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
So the key thing right here is what you got to see is that his mentality was, my people got to be saved. He wasn't comfortable being in the situation that he is in. Me and Officer Elon were talking about it earlier, right? I asked him if you want to bring it out, but I'm bringing it out for you. His point was, do men think like this today? Do people think like this today? Do we look at the state of our people today and realize we got to build them up? We got to take them from being crackheads and harlots and accepting Christianity and white Jesus back to the people of God. Every one of you, this building should be full with so much people in here that we can't even breathe right. Because we understand everybody outside these doors today is destroyed. They're not dedicated to God like we are now. That's what the Feast of Dedication is about. Him realizing his people was broken down and saying, I got to get my people back to the glory that they're supposed to be in. Jump down to verse 11.
Verse 11. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave.
We are become a slave here in America. Jump down to verse 26.
Verse 26.
So what he chose to do, verse 26.
Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Salem.
What he chose to do was to smite down the man that was coming to put them in a place where they would do evil. He smote him down in a split second. He chose his people over the comforts of this life quickly. Come on.
And Mattathias cried throughout the people, throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there.
So when you read 2 Maccabees 5 and 27, y'all can write it down and read it later. You read that they lived off fruits and berries and they were living in the wilderness. That's how forefathers lived because they chose to serve their people and their God before everything else. That's the same mentality we got to have. So when you go to 1 Maccabees 4, jumping through for time, read verse 1. This is what happened. They flee. They put a man to death. Now they're enemies of war. So now they're living in the wilderness. And they say, all right, Mattathias has died. It's time for Judas to rise up. He starts to go to war with our enemy. So now in 1 Maccabees 4, watch what happens. Come on.
Book of 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 1. Then took Gorgias 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen and removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly.
Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. In the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas.
So he tried to kill us in the middle of the night with 4,000 men. Go ahead.
And when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains. For said he, these fellows flee from us. But as soon as it was day, Judas showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men.
So Judas got 3,000 men. Come on.
Who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their minds.
They never fought a sword fight in their life. But they had the spirit to say, we're going to rise up for our people. They didn't care about their own lives. The scriptures tell you that the only thing they regarded was the temple and their people. They didn't care for wives. They didn't care for none of the comforts. They wasn't worried about their big screen TV. None of that mattered to them. These are the men we honoring today. But guess what? You men and women are those men. That's what you got to understand. You're not here celebrating this, just being spirits to be on the wall. You're the same people. You did it then, you're going to do it again. You can't do anything else. Come on.
And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about.
Jump down to verse 8. Jump down to like 10.
Verse 10.
I'm trying to hurry up and get done, man. I'm past the time. Come on. My red light is on.
Now therefore, let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day.
Come on.
So that all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel.
So the Lord is the one that saved us, but he did it through Judas Maccabees. Now jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain. Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword.
All right, jump down now to verse 36.
Verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited.
So this was another fight that he has with Lysis, right? So he has that other fight, right? And in this fight, Judas has 10,000 men, and Lysis comes with 65,000 men to fight because he won the first fight. And in the second fight, they said we need more men. So to every man in the battle that we're reading about after they won it, it was 6.5 men, 6.5 men for every man of Israel. And we won. That's what we're reading right here in this verse. I'm just skipping forward for time's sake. But read the whole chapter, you'll understand. Jump down to the verse we have. Read it again. 36.
Verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited.
We killed all our enemies. Go ahead.
Let us go up to cleanse and to dedicate the sanctuary.
That's what we're doing today. This is what we celebrating. A battle that seemed like it was insurmountable, meaning we couldn't fight it. We cannot win. That's how your life might feel sometimes. You can't win. There's no way that you're going to be able to come out of this on top. But the Lord is telling you, even when our odds don't look like it's in your favor, there's one that's fighting for you. That's what today is about. You them same people that the Lord got to remind you of every year that I'm always going to have you win the battle regardless of how difficult it may be. Jump down to verse 41. So who did he choose to fight with him?
Verse 41.
42.
42. So he chose priests of blameless conversation.
That's what you men have to be. You got to be blameless. You women got to be blameless. The Lord said, I'm going to pick those men that are blameless to make sure that this temple can be established again. Come on.
Such as had pleasure in the law.
You got to have pleasure in the scriptures. These men had pleasure in the Lord. You know why? They saw that the Lord always stood with us, so they were willing to fight for their people. Read.
Who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place.
Come on.
And as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane.
Because that altar we read earlier, they called it the temple of Jupiter, and they were having sex in the damn temple. So they didn't destroy the altar because it was the same one that was anointed from back then. They said we can't destroy it, but they just slid it to the side. They didn't have anything. They didn't know what to do. So what they did was they went in the law and they made a new temple. Now jump down to verse 49.
Verse 49. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table.
Come on.
And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now, on the 25th day of the 9th month.
We're in the 9th month on the 25th day. Come on.
Which is called Caslu. In the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning, and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made.
Read.
Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success.
Read.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness.
With what, officer? Read it again.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness.
So for the 8 days they were glad. You know why? Because the thought of death had entered their head before that. The thought of being destroyed. Some of y'all ain't glad enough. They were glad for 8 days. That means there wasn't no argument. There wasn't no talking about the bills and what we got to do. They walked around and said, thank God we alive.
That's right.
You should be saying the same thing today. Come on.
And sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
They gave deliverance and praise. They said, thank God we in this position. 1 Maccabees 3:18, and I'm done. 18 through 22. This was their mentality, and this is why they were in this spirit. So we got to be in this same spirit today. You know why? We're the same people. You may not think you those people, but read it. Put yourself there. Smell what the air smell like. Ask yourself, if I came to your door and said, I'm taking everything out your house, not me, let a white man come to your door, because maybe you might have some type of friendship to me, right? Think about a Caucasian man coming to your door and said, I'm taking everything and I'm going to have sex with women in your living room, and you're going to stand outside. That would be disgusting to you. It should feel like that when you worship the Lord on this day. You should say, the same way I'm pissed off about that, I'm pissed off about what happened then, but I thank the Lord for delivering us.
That's
and he's going to do it again. 1 Maccabees 3:18.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 18. Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few.
Read.
And with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company.
Come on.
For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven.
That's where our strength coming from heaven. Read.
They come against us in much pride and iniquity.
They're prideful and they're sinful. Read.
To destroy us and our wives and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws.
We fight for who?
But we fight for our lives and our laws.
Believe it or not, every single one of you, every time you keep a Sabbath day or a commandment of God, you fighting for your lives and your laws. That's what's happening today. You fighting for your lives and your laws in this time, and we're going to have to fight again. Not physically, but the spiritual battle is on. That's what Officer Elon was talking about earlier. Read it one more time. Come on.
But we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore, the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face.
The Lord is going to overthrow our enemies just like he did in this time, again in current day, and before our eyes. We ain't going to have to wonder what's going to happen. All the enemies that come against the children of Israel are going to die, and we're going to get to watch it.
That's
Read.
right.
And as for you, be ye not afraid of them.
So the Lord gave you this feast so you could be joyous, you can enjoy it, and remember the fact that he is always with you. No matter how difficult life may be or how much it look like you ain't going to be able to overcome, the Lord telling you, I'm going to set you up as a pillar if you overcome this. Actually, last one. Revelation 3:12. I'm done. To hit the class. Revelation 3:12.
The book of Revelation.
Just so it'll go with the title.
Chapter 3 and verse 12. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God.
So a pillar is a leader, right? He said, him that overcometh all the tribulation, all the temptation, he's going to make you a leader. Go ahead.
and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And I will write upon him my new name.
Read.
He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches.
So Lord willing, y'all got something out the class, man. If you endure and you overcome your temptation, you're going to be made a pillar, all right? Most High Christ bless.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.